Hello, this is Swift bringing you another ASMR cast from, all the way from Quest's Heresy, where we have Floid playing as these delightful tropical fruit coloured Tyranids. Although on the contrast that this map has, maybe not the best colour scheme. They kind of blend in a bit. That's a shame. I was quite liking this. What is that colour? It's kind of like lemony, banana-y, bit of orange, bit of sort of... what colour's a guava? I imagine that. Anyway, on the other side we have Ben1993 playing as the white chocolate Space Marines. The white scars. Not milk chocolate. Completely the wrong colour. I mean, they're milk coloured. Anyway, none of that is important. Enough of my rambling. It's Floid versus Ben1993. What more could you want? It's two pretty decent heavyweights going down on each other in a non-sexual way on Quest's Heresy, which is typically pretty tight as maps go. So it's going to be interesting. We've got thankfully no turret commanders, because that makes this map a lot less interesting. But we do have very fighty commanders instead. This Hive Tyrant getting straight in there with a beautiful special attack there of those tactical marines. And these tacks are going to try and bleed some intelligence, but a little bit caught out of position perhaps. Although, mind you, the Force Commander turns up and suddenly it's not looking as good. Once were forced off early, and then 1993 is really making the most of his map control right now. Second Scout Squad does stop its cap train and tries to shoot the Hive Tyrant, and Ben otherwise doing a pretty decent job of kiting this Hive Tyrant around, although that 1080 HP, well, it's 1050, I thought it was 80. I know tank marines have 1080, I think. Unless they have 1052, they do have 10. What is 1080? I'm sure there's something with... You know what? Forget it, it's not important. What is important though is how buggered these scouts are going to be. Okay. Floyd decides not to commit. It's kind of wise. Double shotguns though, pretty early. I wonder if he's going to get anything on the Force Commander early as well. Looks like he might be going for a tier 1.5 unit next, perhaps. He's not forced into buying detection because there's no lictor, so he's lucky in that regard, I guess. But the double shotguns does kind of make sense. Floyd, though, going for a, fairly sort of safe playstyle. He's not going for the triple Hormagaunts. Going for the Can I speak? No. He's going for the double Termagants. And yes, I pronounce it Termagants. Get over it. Not all of us can speak right. Definitely not me, anyway. Scout's having a bit of a tango with the Hive Tyrant. A tango! Yes, he's a tank. That's what he is. He's not tropical fruit. This guy's fucking juiced on tango. That's what it is. Tango, Fanta, some fucking soft drink with a lot of sugar that's kind of vaguely based on some fruit, although probably no fruit product has touched it. So the scouts are having a tango with a tango, and it's kind of quite static right now. Like, Ben just waiting to see when he can get involved. Did he call down a drop pod? I think he must have bought them from the base. Floyd going for the Raveners. It's fairly typical. Everyone knows that they're pretty strong, and Power Sword is down from the Force Commander, so Ben probably going to be skipping his tier 1.5 and just going straight in on the upgrades. It's not a bad idea. He does a lot of damage with that grenade. Meanwhile, those Raveners are kind of caught out of it. Hive Tyrant is closing with those tactical marines, and they are going to lose a model because tax just don't. And will he get the Force Commander? Because that'd be a nice pickup if he could. He moves off to cap with the Hormobots and may have been able to kill them otherwise. Meanwhile, the scout's closing in, but this is very dangerous here from Ben. He thinks that he can tie him up, but he's lucky to leave with 3 models on that squad. Wow. 23 HP across 3 models, and those are scouts. Extremely, extremely unlikely. Very brazen play from these Hormagaunts right now, but Floyd knows that he can afford it. He's got 1 more unit to cap if he keeps them on the field, and you know, it's not like even with 8 models they're going to do that much right now with those double shotguns, so it's pretty wise. This could be where we see the map control completely flip, where Ben was looking so strong with that just wedge of units in the middle. Floyd has successfully, well, what's the phrase, divide and conquer? I guess he kind of did. He divided the Force Commander, who would have been pretty useful in that fight. Either way though, he's very useful here against that anemic looking Hormagaunt squad. Temujin doesn't have to just retreat, because he is just bait for a grenade right now. Thankfully they use a shotgun blast, so they don't quite have the energy, I don't think. No. May also be on cooldown. Unless it was the other squad that threw it, I don't know. The power income looking good for both players, and they're probably going to hit tier 2 around the same time really. Floyd perhaps a little bit ahead. He's got plus 64 versus plus 49 for Ben, but they're close enough at the moment that it's not going to be any definitive advantage. When you're versus Tyranids, it doesn't matter quite so much if you're a little bit behind going into tier 2. I mean, I say that like I'm a Tyranid fighting expert. I don't know, I just sort of repeat whatever opinions people sort of throw my way. But this big, nasty horde going to take on this army here. This is kind of rare. This is one of those things that Quest Heresy really produces, which is this just insane blob slugfest that you get. Force Commander's going in, he's looking for the Synapse bombs on the Warriors, but he gets caught in that Hive Tyrant, and one scout squad already forced off. Could be a wipe here for Ben actually, because they're really low, extremely low. The Hormagaunts kind of screw up their pathing, which is, well, it's kind of to be expected, isn't it? And interesting to see Floyd just fully committing to this ranged playstyle here with the Barb Strangler Warriors. Not something you see too often versus Space Marines, but versus Ben's composition it makes sense. There's no Assault Marines, and there's a lot of range stuff that he wants to shut down, as well as that Force Commander. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a teleporter at some point. He's got the Iron Halo at the moment though. Ben really investing in his Force Commander. I guess we'll see what Floyd gets come tier 2. A little bit of power bashing whilst Floyd waits for Ben to come back. Gets one power generator and decides to back off. These double scouts just... see, one of my favourite things about Space Marine play is scouts. They're just... compared to the rest of the faction, they are so quick. They're not plodding like the power-armed tactical Marines are. Scouts are one of the much more interesting parts of the Space Marine composition. And just watching like double shotgun scouts, fully upgraded, march towards the Tyranid lines is it's brave and surprisingly effective in its own right. A capillary tower goes down, signalling to Ben that Floyd is in tier 2, and he must know that he's in tier 2. Well, also, isn't even a bigger signal, bloody crushing claws on the Hive Tyrant. Ravenous do jump in. Force Commander might be keeping his halo for a little bit longer, but he is being shut down quite a lot by the crippling volleys and the suppression. But in general, this Razorback is going to cause some issues for Floyd. Hive Tyrant does do heavy melee damage and a lot of it, but when you can't reach the target, well, you're kind of a bit screwed. Scouts doing a lot of damage but not bleeding. That's kind of something we've seen a lot this game. There's just not a lot of bleed going on with those scouts. He's getting incredibly lucky. Does lose one model there, but one scout model reinforcing is kind of reinforces for a pittance, doesn't it? Okay, again we see this kind of real wedge playstyle from Ben where he just drives up the middle and says, you know what, I'm going to set up here. And then Floid kind of gets pushed to the perimeter. Meanwhile, Venom Brood coming down, and that's a very nice, what is that called? It's not the Desiccator Larvae, it's the Electroshock Grub. Yeah, nice Electroshock Grub coming down. And he's going to have to be super careful with that Razorback from now on, because it's on half health already. He should be getting the extra armor on it. So we'll see what he does. Plasma Devastator as well being built from Ben, which is kind of interesting. I think I like that purchase just because he can sit here and hit those Termagant Blobs or Warrior Broods in just a really, really safe way. Force Commander meanwhile going at it in his own way. Trying to tear through those warriors, but not having too much luck. He's really being shut down. This Iron Halo keeps him in there for a bit longer, but he kind of stalled for no reason there. Ben just wasn't ready to engage. Little Shotgun Blast goes back, but in the grand scheme of things, I was going to say in the grand scheme of things, that Shotgun Blast was kind of useless, but no, he does kill a warrior model and gets a nice Synapse Bomb. Ultimately he is forced off, but that certainly did a blow to the momentum that Floyd was probably hoping to get. Venom Brood won't be able to do that much versus this. But mind you, having said that, he does need to move the Razorback. Tactical Marines with a Plasma Gun, reasonably effective versus those Raveners, but being outshot by the Blob. But otherwise, map control reasonably even right now. He does go for a grenade on the Hive Tyrant in retreat, but a little bit whiffed. And you know, even with all the AV from Floyd, Ben is still making this Razorback very effective. He hasn't even got the extra armor for it. He's decided that, you know what, I don't need it. And the scout harassment is really showing. Floyd having lost both of these points over here. And Floyd forced to reconsider what he's doing. So as we get another lull, Floyd is going to be thinking what he's going to do now. He has enough to go tier 3. Doesn't necessarily have a huge wreck income right now. He does need to get that wreck point back, but he's not in such a bad spot to go to tier 3 right now, unless Ben can hold this victory point. Currently Floyd is quite distracted what's going on in the mid, so we may see him lose a lot of VPs. He is capping on the right side, but can't really say for certain. Hive Tyrant. Force Commander again, he's so brazen. He still hasn't got any upgrade. I feel like he'd really benefit from Artificer armor right now, but because the thing is, he's level 1. He's been kited around constantly all game. It's interesting. And here we see a Floyd doing a reversal of the wedge playstyle where he puts down his brood nest. So So it is one advantage that the Hive Tyrant has over the Force Commander. He has that on the field reinforce from the Brood Nest with the healing. Obviously that's what the Razorback is for. It's Floid very much has that static playstyle, and oh dear. Well, bye bye Razorback. Scouts again getting pretty low, but just not dropping models. These attacks are on 2 models currently. Those Raveners are really suffering against the double plasma guns right now. Plasma cannon though has been doing work, to be honest. It's quite interesting. You rarely ever see them in 1v1, but Ben, you know, he's got a strategy down. It's the right map for it. He knows what he's doing. And it looks as if Hive Tyrant has been relegated somewhat to capping duty at the moment. But it's been constant action pretty much. Just no real lulls for a while now. It's just constant engagements because Ben knows that he cannot let up. He's got a good stock of resources right now and he's probably saving for some assault terminators, and here we see them come down. But he knows that, you know, once they're out, he's going to need to not to bleed. And he is worried that if he lets Floyd get his way, well, he might not come back. Looking more solid for Floyd now, a bit less now that the Terminators have turned up, but, you know, solidly he's been winning engagements for at least the past couple of minutes. Those Terminators could signal the end of Floyd's brief lead. Oh, and I just want to point something out to people, because I think no one's actually noticed this on this map. But this little wall corner here is not supposed to be here. But Relic misplaced it whilst making the map. And it's now just randomly sitting here. It's got like no textures on this side. So there you go. Now when you play Quest Heresy, you can't unsee that. You're welcome. Ben taking back the wedge in the centre. These Hormagaunts just haven't really done a lot. I mean, Floyd has in part been using them pretty much just to cap, but it's kind of unfortunate in this case where the Hormagaunts now, they don't really have a lot that they can do, and these warriors aren't getting out here alive, surely. Oh my god, they're only level 1 as well. I'm kind of disappointed in these Terminators. Very disappointed. They really should have killed it. However, this Carnifex is going to have a lot of fun with them, because there is nothing that these Terminators can do. And if they get knocked back by their own friendly plasma cannon, well, it's even more embarrassing. Floyd committing here to the left side, and no reason not to, really. These Terminators are taking damage from the Carnifex, but it's going to be a while until anything happens. And the Ripper squad is spawned in, and that's going to really remove the one source of damage that he has against that Carnifex. Now we see the Tyranid swarm playstyle in Tier 3 coming out as Floyd is just outnumbering Ben at every turn. You know, Ben certainly has a fairly elite army, but I think, what does he have? He's got Sergeant on one of the squads, I think. Oh, no, he doesn't actually. No Sergeants on any of his TAC squads, so they don't have nearly the staying power. And it's unlikely that we're going to see a Sergeant, I think. He just doesn't have the pop, because if he buys Sergeants, he can't really buy anything else. Let's see what he does. Hive Tyrant with the bonded exoskeleton activating his invulnerability, and the warriors go in there for some reason and promptly get deleted. So that's nice. Carnifex is back. What is the answer here from Ben? I feel like he needs to upgrade to a Power Fist on this Force Commander, to be honest. He is switching to missile launchers. Okay, I mean, he's got the Terminators and the Force Commander to deal with the Synapse creatures, I guess. But that's 70 power. 70 power spent on missile launchers that don't even have a snare. And one of the squads is basically tied up by Rippers all the time, so it's got to pay off. He's got to kill the Carnifex now. Well, it doesn't have to be right now, but he's got to kill it. Because if he doesn't, then what is he going to do? Although, mind you, Floid right now is kind of wasting these Rippers. I mean, they're not exactly expensive, but not sure he needed to throw away that red and XP, because these guys are level 3. And that missile launcher has just got a whole lot more dangerous. Oh, that's nice. Good job there in the jump animation. Probably should have jumped that one, but hey. That was probably a little attack ground there from Ben, because the elevation will have screwed up that shot if it hadn't been an attack ground. Well, probably, anyway. So what is going on over here? These scouts going incredibly deep right now. Carnifex getting that splash damage off, and he does do a lot of damage, but again, we see these scouts just running away, both with full models. They don't bleed, they're like catters. These are the new catters. There's also something else I've realised about this map. Relic never baked the lighting. That's why the shadows look awful. They have these, they're like super harsh, pitch black shadows. That's why the contrast is so bad as well. Relic just never bothered to bake the lighting on it. That's why this map looks so weird. God, it's horrible. Rookie mistake. Nice one, Relic. It's the kind of mistake I would have made when I was making my maps. Anyway, missile launchers pretty much tearing through those Tyrant generators, and yeah, not going to last very long. We've got level 3 and level 3. These missile launchers may pay off, but his Carnifex is still here. It hasn't got much XP because, well, it hasn't killed much. It's done a lot of damage, but nothing's dying for Ben. Like, he just isn't losing models. Well, I say that as he loses a scout model. Of course. Another squad of Rippers spawned, and, you know, Ben handling this Endless Swarm playstyle pretty well. Again, Hormigons just relegated to capping duty, not even bothering to reinforce them because, well, what are they going to do but be upkeep? Now the Ben wedge moves forward. He does teleport in, which is pretty dangerous in his position because he can't really know that the Carnifexes were there. Barbed Strangler Carnifex does get called in, but unfortunately Floid hits the terrain. Beautiful plasma cannon shot there. And you know, the damage of these Terminators is being reasonably mitigated here by the crippling poison. Will he drop a model though? That's the important question. Probably not at this rate. That piercing damage is really not going to do much. He looks pretty safe. This Hive Tyrant is only level 1 and it really shows he is struggling a lot to get into these fights right now. I feel like he needs a walk field. Really. Or a bioplasma just so that he can get up close, but Floid doesn't really have the luxury to start specking out a level 2 hero at this point. And here we do see the Power Fist on the Force Commander. I feel vindicated knowing that there is a Power Fist. Although Floyd really needs to sort out his wall here. Not Floyd, Ben. Because this Force Commander is not going to be able to get off. Get off any flesh over steals. Ooh. Just go over that wall. Quite daintily. God, I feel like I've been talking for like 5 minutes straight now. Just non-stop without pause for breath. And Floyd's Carnifex makes the long march back home. Just trundling along back home. Lonely little whale. Tropical fruit Carnifex. More Rippers are sacrificed in the service of the Hive mind. And another plasma shot doesn't quite connect, but Ben's plasma cannon has been doing a lot of work for him this game. It is targeting ground, which makes sense. And he's very cautious right now, which, of course, as I can see, he doesn't need to be, but incredibly cautious. What does he think is waiting for him out there? Very interesting. So this is quite curious to see sort of the mind games that you can play on people. Okay, apparently that's okay. That is an interesting bug. They just disappeared. Right, I'm gonna do team 1. What is going... Okay, my Fog of War is completely screwed up right now, so I'm not even going to bother with those settings. But my point is, you know, Ben is suffering from the mind games right now. He is expecting a much bigger and much more dangerous army, when in reality it doesn't exist really. You know, here obviously this Carnifex is out, so Floyd can do a lot more, but Ben is definitely being pretty cautious. It's not bad to be cautious, he's got the VPs, and Floyd is the one who is on the back foot in that regard, but don't let Floyd just cozily get back into the game. Mind you, if these Terminators could level, I feel like it would be a very different story, and that is a really bad place for it to happen to be. Okay, interesting position on the orbital. I thought he was going to put one a bit sort of over here maybe, but I guess he figures he can chase him around. And that is a las cannon. Not a bad choice. Kind of a late choice though. I feel like that las cannon should have maybe come a little bit earlier. Interesting. Tier 3 Lictor going up, which, well, it eats las cannons for breakfast. This Carnifex is doomed if... okay. Now, there wasn't really a huge amount that Floyd could have done, but what he could have done right there was not have moved the Carnifex in at all, and he's going to sacrifice a Lictor for the sake of the cap. No, the Lictor will be alright, the Force Commander won't be able to reach it in time. But it's very dangerous. Really, really got to be careful with what you're doing there, Floyd. And meanwhile, we see Ben, he's just playing to his strengths, established in this middle area. Floyd again pushed to the perimeter. And sure, Floyd is in a semi sort of flanking position, but Ben just... he's kind of immovable at this point. I feel like this Hive Tyrant just really hasn't done anything this game. He's sort of just been a bit neglected, and this poor Carnifex just suffering right now as well. Terminators have been the MVP for Ben, I feel like. Or the Scouts. You know, it could be easy to nominate the level 4 attacks, but... Whoa. Did that last kind of just get... Oh no. I thought it got completely eliminated there, but no, it's alright. This attack squad survives with just like a tiny bit of HP. And in fact, there's so little HP on that Carnifex that this... Oh. How long has that been open? Shit. It's probably been open since I removed the HUD. Whoops. No spoilers. Alright, the game definitely doesn't end in 3 minutes. Floid though, meanwhile, you know, I've been disparaging him and laying into him and saying, oh, Ben has got the advantage and he's got the VPs, but he kind of doesn't. So it's just kind of interesting to see. He will be able to get 2 of them back, and Floid doesn't have the time. But you know, it's a tough game to call. If Floid does play this engagement right, he could... I was going to say he could see this one out, but that Lictor is not going to beat those Terminators. Not at all. So he has to wait until the Terminators leave. Which, at this rate, I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, almost calls down an Orbital on his own Scouts, but otherwise that is pretty decently hit. Does force Floyd to retreat, and it might be that retreat that is enough. Okay, the Doom or the Neurothrope is providing a bit of a distraction. These poor Termagants just have been on guard duty the entire game. There's no way that Floyd is going to be getting to that natural VP. And he's going to lose his Neurothrope. This is the point where you just sacrifice any unit you can if you think that you'll get one more VP. And it's so tough being in that mindset, because how do you break out of it? You know, it's so difficult. Okay, having said he's not going to get that VP, it's not going to stop Floyd from trying, and he kind of has to try because he does not have any victory points. So he's got the invulnerability he can use, but that goes off and he's going to lose the Hive Tyrant, and it's GG. What can he do? He can't get the right side. Left side's going to be taken back, and even if it's not, he could very easily lose this. Ben calls GG, he knows it's over. Floyd calls GG, and they're just going to let it tick down. It's a little end game. What are they called? Den and Thieves. Bit unfortunate there for Floyd. I felt like there was definitely a couple of opportunities where he could have come back. He did pretty well with those Carnifexes early on, but I don't know what happened. He just committed a bit too hard in that one engagement, and well, didn't quite work out for him. And I would talk a bit more, but this box has appeared, so I guess that's all for this game.